The winners of this year's short story competition were announced at the John Mackintosh Hall on Wednesday afternoon, with Minister Stephen Linares and the 4 adjudicators who had judged the entries in attendance. The competition, which is growing in popularity every year, was divided into 5 separate age categories, with a panel of judges left to decide which work impressed them the most.
Well, first of all, you're looking for something interesting, something which is exciting, interesting, worth reading, something you want to get to the end. So what happens next, you know? It has to be well written, obviously. The language has to be, I wouldn't say perfect, but it has to be good. It has to be good quality language. We also look for something exciting, something which is worth reading. I go by the human element. You know, is this a story that has a human component, a human meaning, a human dimension? That's important, I think. You know, if you have that, then the story tends to work.
In the school years 12 and 13, Laurent Breton took the top prize with The Black Box, while Ruth Simcha Wannon claimed first in the years 8 and 11 category, with a short story called A Life of Music. The years 6 and 7 category saw Ryan Clinton recognised for his entry, and the most junior of the categories, years 4 and 5, was won by Asia Kent. In the adult section, Edwin Pohio and Anne-Catherine Humphreys were awarded with a highly commended and runner-up prize, respectively. However, it was Jackie Anderson who took the main award with her short story Trouble for Tea, inspired by a journey on the number 2 bus where she witnessed a troubled mother trying to control her autistic child.
I took to thinking about what it might be like being somebody who empathised with the child, and so I developed the character of a lady who also has had an autistic child. She's a bit older now, and she really misses that child because he's been taken into a home. As he's got older, she can't care for him so much. So that's essentially the character and the difficulty in the story. The trouble is the behaviour of this particular child, and the story just goes on to resolve what could be deemed as the trouble for tea.
With 275 entries into this year's competition, there were more than ever before. Most of them were submitted in the junior categories due to their involvement with their respective schools. But how did the standard compare to previous years?
The standard was good, yeah. I think that the adult standard was slightly below other years. You know, I've come across better work other years. This year was slightly on the, I wouldn't say on the low side, but the winners were good, but we've had very good winners sometimes. You know, last year I remember one in particular was extremely good, exceptionally good. As regards the pupils, generally more or less the same. I think I didn't see any marked difference from other years. Yeah. There will be another competition in autumn, but this will be poetry. Not sure. We only have one short story a year. Normally around about the time springtime. It's normally tied up with the spring festival, and then the poetry one is tied up with the autumn festival later on in the year.
So if you fancy yourself as a lyrical genius or simply have an affinity for writing poetry as a pastime, get those thinking caps on and give it your best shot with the poetry competition coming up in just a few months' time.
It is difficult